Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so good, and partly because of our amazing sponsor, Executive Help Now. At Executive Help Now, we are all about simplifying your business so you can focus on what really matters. From streamlining operations to managing administrative tasks and everything in between, our team is here to help you thrive. If you're ready to make your life a little bit easier, give us a call at 678-782-8820 or hit us up at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, today's guest is nothing short of a genius. Please join me in welcoming Nathan Baws. With over 43 years of experience launching and scaling 15 businesses, many reaching into the seven figures, Nathan Baws is an entrepreneur, marketing expert, and naturopathic health advocate. As the founder of Immersion Wellness and Flair School, as well as Tommy Sugo Food, he helps individuals and businesses align well-being with peak performance. A Shark Tank Australia alumnus and Guinness World Record holder, Nathan turns bold ideas into extraordinary results, sharing real-world insights on business growth, wellness, and success. Y'all, put your hands together for Nathan.
Yeah. Just hit my microphone. Hi, Renee.
How are you?
Excellent. And who couldn't be after an intro like that? Well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you are here today and so excited to just learn all I can personally, as well as share with our incredible audience all your wealth of information that you have to share with us, because we want to be just like you, Nathan. We want successful businesses that will just grow and thrive and basically run on autopilot. And you seem to have discovered the secret sauce of how to make all of that happen. So I'm excited.
Excellent. Lovely to be here.
Awesome. So Nathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started down this path? What was the thing growing up as a kid? Was there something going to school? Where did this all start? This acumen for business excellence as well as health and wellness.
Yeah, sure. It definitely all started at a very young age that I got into business. In fact, I was 6 years old when I tried my hand at my first business. And at that age, you don't really know much about making money. In fact, I thought making money actually involved physically building coins and notes. That was the extent of my knowledge, and that didn't pan out too well. When I was a kid, I was fed a lot of potatoes because, as it happened, they were pretty cheap product, and single parent and not too many finances. So that gave me a lot of motivation to find ways to make money. So I remember being 6, being at my cousin's farm and saying to my cousin, "Hey, Jeremy, by the end of this week, we've got to make money because I can't go, I don't want to see another potato again. I've got to help mum, buy some steak. And so it was like, okay, first thing we knew was let's look for something that looks like money already. And then we could probably adapt it, build it into a coin. So we got these bottle lids that we found around the farm. We scribbled 20 cents onto them. And that was our idea of making money, but soon realized that it didn't look like anything that was in mum's purse. So we thought, okay, that's not going to work. What do we try next? So we thought, well, as a 6-year-old, the only skill we had was to build paper aeroplanes. So we thought, let's make a business out of paper aeroplanes. So we built a bunch of paper aeroplanes, we were on a paddock in the middle of nowhere in a farm, rural area. We sat by the side of the road and waited for cars to come past. 3 hours passed, 2 cars passed, no one stopped. And but we learned our first few lessons about business. So from there, I built a bunch more businesses, about 15 over the years, and developed my skill set a little bit since then, I'm happy to say.
Wow, what a great story. I love that even from a young age, you were able to recognize there's a problem here. These are a lot of potatoes. I want something other than potatoes to eat. So maybe if I helped mom and brought in a little bit extra cash, then we could have some meat to go with those potatoes. Nathan, I can definitely relate very well to that. I too come from a single parent family. I was a single mom on welfare before I started my business, and know kind of what that struggle is, being the mom, a teen mom, with just trying to keep my kids alive. And grateful for every potato, and as I'm sure you were as well. But then took those humble beginnings to actually use it as fuel to do something more, be something more, or to develop that intestinal fortitude that it takes to build something amazing, which I can't wait to hear about you, even more about your journey, about from these humble beginnings. What other steps did you have to take to learn what it means to build and scale a business from nothing to huge 6, 7 more figures?
Yeah. There's no question that gives you an amazing drive when you come from that background. It creates drive and ingenuity. You start looking at things. All my strategies over the years have been based on my potatoes, because I always look for ways of doing things without any cost, of scaling businesses, growing businesses organically. I don't like paying for ads. I don't like spending money. I've had to be very creative over the years too. And by asking the question as well, how can I do this better than? What way can I do this that I don't have to spend money, but I can get the results bigger and better and faster and quicker than I could using paid ads or using high levels of investment? And I've done both over the years. I've invested literally millions of dollars into different businesses over the years, lost a lot, and thankfully gained a bit as well. And so a little bit more ahead than behind. It's all been a learning process, and it constantly is every day. And it's evolved over the years. So from paper aeroplanes, it went to finding opportunities in different industries. When I was at school, then I realized that there was a lot of people bringing money to school to buy lunches. And I thought, well, how can I cash in on that? So I got into buying lollies. Back then, they were 1 and 2 cent lollies, and brought them in, and I'd sell them for 5 or 10 cents because there was high demand but limited availability, because the school didn't sell anything like that, until I got told off because I had too many people buying lollies instead of buying lunches. The word got out further than just to the students. It went further to the teachers, and then that's when the trouble hit.
I'm laughing, Nathan, because my son did the exact same thing, except it wasn't lollies, it was Pop-Tarts. I'm not sure if you know what Pop-Tarts are, but it's a product here that you pop in the toaster. You're supposed to pop it in the toaster and then have a nice warm fruit-filled pastry for breakfast. No, not my son. He took the whole box to school and sold the 2-pack of Pop-Tarts at school for a dollar or two each. And I'm like, we didn't pay that for the whole box.
Good. I mean, brilliant. You got to look for those opportunities. And that's exactly how I've built businesses over the years, is just finding where the demand is and finding what the problems are, and coming up with commercial solutions that solve those problems well, and, building a business off the back end of that. So wherever there's a problem, there's a great business opportunity.
Absolutely. I love that. Wherever there's a problem, there's a great business opportunity. That should be in quotes in somebody's business book. Probably. All right, Nathan, that's your next assignment.
Well, funny enough, we're just releasing a book with Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy. And I'm writing a chapter in that book. So that comes out next month, all going well. And I do talk about that sort of thing. So yeah.
See, great minds think alike. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're onto it.
Well, that is fantastic. And so now, fast forward a little bit. What inspired you to create Immersion Wellness and Flair School and Tommy Sugo?
Yep. Yeah, completely different businesses in completely different industries. So Immersion Wellness is a business where we create weight loss programs for hotels around the world. So it's a startup business. We've just launched in Indonesia in 4 hotels over there. But I was sitting in Thailand about 2 years ago, and I was eating breakfast with my extended family at this lovely resort, and I eat ketogenic. So I've been ketosis for 5 years, and I just find it's really useful for business. Everything I do health wise and mindset wise always has the outcome of how can I use this to grow my business? So although they have lots of lovely side effects, health and well-being and all those sort of things, my focus is always how can I get the most out of this strategy, be it improving my health or improving my mindset, to elevate my businesses. So there I was in Thailand having breakfast with my family, and it was a buffet breakfast, and the other 9 family members were just eating like they do, all the crap under the sun, all the hot dogs and hamburgers and ridiculous donuts and all sorts of crazy things for breakfast. And I was there sitting quite happily eating my ketogenic choices. And I thought, this is actually so easy to do when you're on holiday. I'm happy in my element here. They're happy doing their thing. I'd love them not to be eating like that. And I always try and direct and influence, but it's dad, and often that doesn't actually have a scope for listening and taking in that advice. But nonetheless, so I was there happily eating my thing, and I thought, I've been running weight loss programs in Australia for a long time in clinical practice. I thought, well, why not bring it to hotels? Hotels are a fantastic opportunity with, great facilities, good food, good sleeping arrangements, which is obviously really important for health, massage, exercise, lifestyle. It's got the whole package there. So I had a meeting with their general manager, and I said, what are you doing for the wellness side of things? Are you in that? And he said, no, but we'd sure like to be, because it's a very lucrative area for hotels. And I said, great. I've designed, I've been running weight loss programs. Why don't I create a program for your hotel? And he said, yeah, great. I'd love it. So went back to Australia, built the program that could slot into a hotel, and came back to him and said, all right, ready to go. And he said, great. We just have to jump through 30,000 different hoops, get 16 million approvals, and then we'll get there. And I thought, well, I'm impatient. I can't wait for that. So I twisted it, re-engineered it, and created it so that any hotel around the world could just pick it up and plug it into their infrastructure, and it generates increased hotel stays, increased food and beverage, increased massage. So it's a massive, massive win for the hotel at zero cost for the hotel. So they don't have to pay me a cent. When the guest comes in, they make the payment that covers my fees, and people stay for a lot longer in a hotel. So that's a long-winded way of answering your question. How did that one come up? So that was Immersion Wellness.
Right. Okay, but I have questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so the program that you have developed is primarily for in the hotel industry, and this is for the guests. and the guest experience, to enhance the guest experience.
Yes.
So the program that you have in place, basically, when you're traveling and you pick up the hotel portfolio and there is all this list of phone numbers, one of them maybe is to the spa or something like that, and then you call down or you call this number and then you provide meal plans, or what does the health and wellness look like that you provide to the hotels that is specific to a guest for the length of their stay?
Yeah. So Immersion Wellness is a B2B business, so business to business. So we're directly selling to the hotels, not to the end user. So we're offering a fully packaged program for the hotel just to pick up and say, thank you very much. We now offer weight loss programs in our hotel, which is phenomenal for the hotels because generally they don't have the expertise or the infrastructure to be able to implement a weight loss program without any risk. So by making the offer so incredibly sexy, so amazing that it's a no-brainer, then it becomes very easy for us to have these conversations because it offers massive value to the hotel. So obviously they're very receptive. So when a guest is looking at staying in a hotel, they can either have a really healthy option and eat well, and we have the mindset and all those sort of things that go with it, which obviously when you're on holidays, you're more conducive to open. You have a little bit more time on your hands, so you can actually, spend the time on yourself. So you can do that alongside your family doing like I did, eating whatever they want, and then you can have the healthy option. Or more predominantly, it's used as, okay, I want to lose weight. I'm going to go on holiday and I'm going to really just focus on myself and fixing up my body and getting my mindset straight. Because in life, we get so busy that sometimes it's great just to take the pressure off and really focus on yourself. So that's the impetus behind it.
I love it. I love it. And you have an amazing website. We were just scrolling through it and seeing all the beautiful pictures and the imagery of what a healthy lifestyle looks like, how it benefits the hotels. And it's a beautiful, very unique and innovative and creative solution. And I love how you made it so user-friendly that, like you said, they just plug it in and it just plays. They have to do nothing. They don't have to come off of additional staff, which is already a shortage in so many places. They don't have to, worry about payments because the clients already pay for it themselves, So I just think, of course, that is absolute genius.
Yeah, it's a solution. There's a lot of weight loss programs out there, but the hotels run them individually. But a lot of hotels want to tap into that clientele because it's a very lucrative clientele, and we offer a solution to do that without any risk. And I think that's so important in business in general, is to create your offer so strong, so ridiculously irresistible that when you're explaining it, there just becomes no objections. And if you can create an offer like that, then all of a sudden you get a lot more doors open, a lot more ears opening, and it just makes the following process a lot easier. So.
Yes. I was just having a very similar conversation earlier today. So yes, I could not agree more. That's so important, just to make it easy for them to say yes.
Yeah.
No brainer. Okay.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I was in the UK, we were buying property without the banks. This was in 2010, and we needed a creative strategy because the banks stopped lending. We were going through the global financial crisis, and we were trading property back then. And we had to do that. We had to be able to talk to sellers. We were talking to sellers, and we were basically saying, look, we'll take over we'll buy your house off you for £1. Now, to get that to that level, it's, if you don't want your face smashed in with a response, then you have to come up with an amazing opportunity, an amazing offer. So it's, that was very good learning grounds for creating offers that were so ridiculously irresistible. We would get what we want and they would get what they want, but it wouldn't be in the standard way of doing it. We had to look for other sort of scope outside of the box to present amazing opportunities. So even by getting what you want, as long as you find a way of getting additional massive benefit to the customer, then it's interesting what you can achieve.
Right, absolutely. And I interrupted you when you were talking about immersion wellness and you were telling us about the inspiration behind it all. I don't want to digress too far away from that because we want to still learn more about the inspiration behind the school, Flair School, as well as Tommy Shugo.
Yeah, cool. So Flair School's another startup. That's in the financial literacy and advanced real world education for kids. That's what Flair School stands for.
Okay.
And we just feel there's not enough financial literacy. There's not enough entrepreneurship in schools. In fact, there's literally zero, very, very minimal amounts of education in that space. When I was on Shark Tank 2015, I think it was, I was pitching there, and after that I did a few speeches for schools because kids are quite interested in that whole TV concept, etc. And so I was going around doing pitching to schools and telling them about the sort of inner Shark Tank experience. And the reception was really, really interesting with the kids. And I did a presentation in one of my kids' schools, and then I was chatting to the headmaster afterwards and said, well, why don't we create this structure for the kids and they can do their own Shark Tank? And so we did that, and the reception of it was just phenomenal. Like the kids were just so excited, and it was just embraced so incredibly well. And I said, look, there's something in this. There's an opportunity, and we know that schools don't focus on this. So we decided with the headmaster and myself to build a course for kids on financial literacy that we can implement across the schooling system and introduce all those things, all the financial literacy, things that we come out into the real world without these skill set. I mean, ridiculously limited skills. We just spend such a minimal time on finance and money and educating ourselves, and kids don't even have the idea. I mean, the whole schooling system is built around the industrial revolution age, where we were just churning out people for factory jobs to sit in a little cubicle. But the world's changed. AI is here, and industries have collapsed, new ones have formed, and schools just don't prepare our kids for those sort of changes in the world anymore. So Flair School is all about those basics, introducing kids to entrepreneurship, which, as I say, the schooling system just doesn't provide for. It's to go into a job, into an office sort of environment, which has so many of those things have disappeared now. So that's the passion behind it.
Wow, I love that. And it is so needed, whether it's in the UK or in the US. There's so much lack, so much opportunity, because kids are not taught these things. Even just like, and when you're at a fast food place trying to get change from a 20 for a $9.72 order, it's like, but wait, I have to wait. And it's like, they don't understand the basic math, it seems like, to be able to make change or to write a check. Like, I know checks are going the way of the dodo bird, but still, sometimes you might have to write a check. Do kids today know how to write a check? No, absolutely not. So tell me about your Shark Tank experience. What was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing and scary, but it was good. It was brilliant for the business at Tommy Sugo, which is my food business, which I'm pretty active still in. That's a local food business in Western Australia. But Shark Tank was brilliant because the exposure from it was phenomenal. And that was the primary reason I think, a lot of people go on Shark Tank. We estimate there's about $100,000 worth of free marketing in that. Every time they did a rerun, my restaurants would get really busy and people would come in. So it was fantastic for us. But yeah, interestingly, I was overseas at the time, because what they do is they come around the country and they do interviews. So you go and pitch your stuff and they see if they would like you for the show. And at the time, I remember when they came to Western Australia, I was in Malaysia. I was trying to set up some restaurants over there, and I missed the audition, and I really wanted to be in the audition. So I just videoed myself from Malaysia, and as if I was doing a Shark Tank presentation, And I sent the video to them and said, oh, any chance you can have a look at this and just let me know if I could be included in some way. And they reviewed it and said, well, sure, we've had a look at the video, looks okay. Why don't you fly to Melbourne and pitch there? Because that's the final audition. And so I did, went to Melbourne, pitched. 2 weeks later, they said, yeah, come on the show. So I went on the show, and they can either give you a positive spin or a negative spin. You know, you have no say over it, and it could go totally either way. But thankfully, they gave us a positive spin. And we do a range for me and create a range of these amazing products and take them more retail. So I did that. I built 3 restaurants and 5 retail stores where we could sell it direct. And then we've also gone a few more verticals. We do wholesale, we do fundraising, we do catering. There's a few others that I always forget. But so we've just found different revenue streams off the back of that just to grow the sales. So that was there was the opportunity, great product, but just wasn't brought directly to the retail sector. So that's what I did with it.
Wow. And it was all inspired from such humble beginnings, your Italian family members, with these great ideas and infusion of flavors, and you brought it so that the rest of the world can enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great alternative to potatoes. So that was also motivation, right?
There you go. Yes. Anything but the potato.
Sorry, no offense to potatoes out there, but I've had enough.
Right, exactly. For a lifetime, probably.
Yeah.
And so, Nathan, as you think about, like you said, we're in a new day and age where technology is running rampant. The way we used to do business is not how we're going to be able to continue doing business for the foreseeable future and even long term. So how have you leveraged health and wellness in this age of technology?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I love to use health and mindset to leverage my business, to grow my businesses, and AI. AI is a huge part of it. So I love the fact that we've got so many tools at our disposal today that, if you don't learn them, you're just missing out. There's so much leverage that we can get out of all this stuff. Since AI has come in, it's revolutionized everything as far as our growth has gone. A lot of people have been fearful about AI and, fearful of losing jobs. I found the opposite. We've employed a lot more people because our productivity has just gone through the roof. Sure, there may be scary sides of AI that we don't know about, but at the moment, why not use it for good and for accelerating our business, because it's a phenomenal tool, as is the health and mindset. I see so many people in business for short term. Businesses come and go. The average lifespan of a new business is 2 years, and not many of them last to 5 years. So by using health and mindset and AI and all the tools that we have at our disposal, it just stacks your opportunity, your potential for growth to become a lot more predictable as an outcome. And why not use them? I mean, there's so much cool stuff out there that, particularly in the marketing space, that, if you're in business, we must be growing our business. We must be getting more eyeballs on what we do on a daily basis. So I find health and mindset are fantastic for long-term, enduring the bumps of business, which we all go through. There's challenges on a regular basis. And if we've got that solid background of health and endurance and mindset, these things just help push us through those hurdles as they come up. And then the systems and business processes and AI, they all can help, get us fast revenue returns. So it's kind of a long-term marathon that I see business as, rather than just a short-term sprint. Collecting all this together to get to the end point is pretty key in my mind.
Right. So do you have a favorite, like a system that you have discovered or that you've used, that are a way that you've used AI for your business systems or for your mindset or health, that has just helped to explode things, if you're able to share?
Yeah, it's a funny one, and it's a very strange angle, I have to say. So one of my favorite things for business growth is stimulating more dopamine in our brain. So I find this a very interesting connection. You've heard of The Secret, the movie and the book? Yeah.
I have, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So
That law of
that's
attraction.
law of attraction. Exactly. It's what it's all about. So
Mhm.
there's what I've discovered is, and what I focus on very, very daily in my business is that we can actually stimulate the law of attraction by biochemically changing our body and our biochemistry of our body. So what I really focus, and that's through the stimulation of dopamine. So what happens is when we stimulate more dopamine, it's our feel-good hormone in our brain, and it's our reward hormone. So anytime we do something good and productive and beneficial for our body gives us a little reward, and it releases this dopamine in our body, and it makes us feel good. We feel content. We feel like we've achieved something, and that encourages us to repeat positive patterns. So dopamine, when you're in a high dopamine state, which you can biochemically engineer healthily and safely, then the law of attraction tends to kick in more. And the reason is because when we have high dopamine levels, we feel fantastic, and we start attracting more good stuff into our life because our energy changes, our posture changes, our mindset changes. We look for more opportunities and we see more opportunities. And that's just a natural response from dopamine. We work better, we work stronger, faster, for longer. And when you're in that flow state, and we've all been in it, where you just go, oh my God, another good thing's happened, and another good thing. And oh my goodness, like this day is just so fantastic. All these cool things are happening. And that's the flow state that's created through dopamine. And the more we can artificially but naturally stimulate your dopamine levels, then all of a sudden, the more this positive cycle begins, and the more the law of attraction kicks in. So it's really, really cool that you can link the two. So that's what I love. Yeah.
And you use AI for that?
So AI, not so much on that angle. Sorry, no.
Oh.
No.
Okay. I was going to say, okay, we're going to ask Siri, help me have like a 100% dopamine effect all day, every day.
Yeah. I'm sure there's an angle. I'd have to think about that. But no, so dopamine stimulation, there's a bunch of ways that you can do it. I can't think how AI could help, but I'm sure there'll be one. But things like exercise is really good for that. Ice baths are fantastic for dopamine stimulation. And that's, as you mentioned, Guinness Book of World Records. So that was an ice bath. And again, purely related to business outcomes. That's the only reason I did it. It was because, the dopamine stimulation, your dopamine levels go up by over 200% through a 3-minute ice bath. So fantastic for business. Eating well, avoiding sugar, going into ketosis, listening to music that uplifts you. All these things are fantastic for boosting your dopamine. And that can help with business growth, in my mind.
Right. So as you're thinking about how you scaled your business from you built 15 businesses, scaled them tremendously, all successful. So what automation or tools or systems have helped you streamline those operations across multiple businesses? Like, do you use one tool for all the businesses, or are they each individual specific tools?
In things like graphic design, we use a lot of AI. In building websites, we use a fair bit of AI, ChatGPT. All my team have the understanding that they need to use AI. There was a lot of resistance when it first came out by my team. And I said to them, look, guys, you're not going to be here if you don't adapt and adopt it. Graphic design work, we're almost at the level where we don't need graphic designers. And but my graphic designers have thankfully embraced it, because obviously I keep pointing them in that direction and coaching them that they need to adapt to it. And our productivity levels have gone up. Our staffing levels have increased, because you just see this amazing output and you go, oh, I want more of that. We're 10xing our output with one person. And you go, well, what if we introduce 5 people into that same position? We 50x our output. And so those are the tools. We use AI for video creation. We use it for automating responses. So we use things like AI to personalize the video responses that we give to our customers. So when we build our database, every new customer that comes into it, they get a personalized, "Hi, John, thanks for coming in. Hi, Mary, thanks for coming in. Great to see you. This is a bit about us," just so you've got a bit of background. So that personalization of using AI tools to tweak the video is just awesome, what you can do with it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, use it in
That
a
is
lot of it.
incredible.
Yeah.
So as I'm thinking about what you're saying, personalizing, customizing, making that customer experience still feel so individual, yet using AI to kind of help create whatever the messaging is and send it out to the masses, whoever needs to have it, like they're the only ones. Like they're the only one who received this message. But no, hundreds of other people have received this exact same message. But because of where we are with AI and how technology is just kind of, I won't say taking over, but really making things easier and quicker and helping us all be so much more productive. Like you said, with one person, you 10x in. When you add 5 to the mix, you're unstoppable. You're totally unstoppable. So yeah, people definitely need to get with the program because it's not going anywhere. It's not going.
No.
But I think, like you said, it definitely is a mindset shift that needs to happen. It absolutely does, because we cannot continue in the same path and thinking the same way that we used to think and think that we're going to get similar or the same results. If we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to get further and further and further behind the pack.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, you can't repeat the same thing and expect a different outcome. As they say, Einstein said that's the definition of insanity.
That's right. That's right. You keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got. But that's what I'm saying. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're not going to get nearly as much as what you had before, because AI is now here and you're going to just get further and further and further behind.
That's exactly it. There's so much content being created. There's so much additional competition now, because you can turn around, we're creating blog articles, two articles a day per website. You couldn't do that, back 3 years ago. That was impossible to do. So you've got to stay relevant, because otherwise the world's just drowning in information and your voice won't be heard.
That's right. That's right. You have to stay relevant, and you have to go through the mindset shift, do whatever you need to do, talk to somebody, whatever that looks like, to make the shift, because your health is going to be impacted if you don't know and understand that this is happening. Because what I found that some people do is, like, they are like ostriches and want to stick their head in the sand. Like, okay, if I don't look, it's not happening. Right? But that's not true. Yeah. You can stick your head in the sand all you want, and stuff is still going to be happening. And so they get stressed out. Their anxiety goes up. They start to wonder, am I going to make it? Is my business going to fail? What's going to happen? And there's all this angst. They don't have to have the angst. They just need to reset their mind.
Yeah, and get on with it. You can never not progress in business if you're generating more sales and more leads. That is the solution to any financial issue, pretty much, in business. It kind of fixes everything. So why not use these tools to be specific in those areas for lead generation and sales enhancement, and just get more, because it honestly is the solution to pretty much every problem in the world. So absolutely. Certainly reducing your stress. One of the biggest business challenges and stress levels come from a lack of revenue. Obviously, it's the number one thing in business. So why not use the tools to enhance that? Absolutely.
Increase your revenue, all your problems go away. No, not really, but I'm just saying, almost. So, Nathan, this has been such an incredible discussion. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your skills, your expertise of the importance of the right mindset and maintaining good health, and how we can use the tools that we have available to us to have better lives, be better leaders, build stronger companies, have stronger teams. It's just so fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So, the show is almost over, but people are going to want to stay in touch with you. How can they reach you?
Yeah, sure. Through LinkedIn or nathanbaws.com, my website. We often do monthly connections where we'll just, if you got business challenges, you just bring business growth challenges. It's a free connect. We just meet once a month and we just hang out and chat. And you're welcome to join that. Register on the website. So yeah, happy to. And YouTube, I do lots of stuff. As I learn more stuff, because it's a constant process, then I just share it on the YouTube channel. So yeah, love you to subscribe to that.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody who's in the sound of my voice, like, share, and subscribe to Nathan Baws on YouTube, and follow him on all the socials. So this was so fantastic. So, as one of my final closing thoughts, Nathan, tell us the biggest lesson that you've learned from building multiple businesses. What's the one thing that you want us to take away? If we don't remember anything else, what do we need to take away today?
I think find the niche that you're passionate about and just go crazy in that. Get it so involved in it and learn about the marketing and the lead generation side, because literally if you have that skill, it's very, very hard to fail in any business, and none of us come out with those skills. We have to all learn those things. So master lead generation and sales, and your business is destined for success.
Awesome. I love it. Nathan, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thanks so much, Renee.